The John Lebang Show has been known to make people laugh, sing, think, scream, throw things in rage, and generally lose their minds. Listener discretion is advised.
Worldwide and out to the greater universe, you're listening to the John Lebang Show.
Greetings, Earthlings, and welcome back to another week of broadcasting, and we've got lots to talk about. When I was going over the vast amount of subject matter that I wanted to discuss on the show, I didn't even know how to start the night because there's plenty of fake news providers out there that I'd like to expose, and there's a local case happening with our city hall that I'm telling you, I have information, but I'm not really given permission to talk about it. But I have information, and I'm wanting to express to you what I know about the situation without crossing some kind of line. There's also the reparations talk happening, and the the fake racial beating, juicy schmuck over there. You know, there's a lot. And I don't know where to begin, because I think each one has its own importance and should be at the top of the list, but we can't do that. So I'm going to ask you to forgive me tonight if I jump around from topic to topic and topic and then revisit it a little bit later on as the show moves forth. So let's get to the local subject matter, because I think it needs to be, some light needs to be shed on a few things. First off, I've not had direct contact with the mayor. The only time I attempted to talk to the mayor, I basically got the no, you can't see the mayor, you're not important enough to see the mayor, even though I'm a resident of Taylor. But whatever. But I know plenty of people who do business for the city as well as do business with other companies. And I've spoken to a great deal of these people. Now, it's still hazy about what is really going on down at City Hall. FBI raided it. That's what we know for sure. And it was on some kind of corruption type situation. What I know, what was going on in the city of Taylor, and I did not want to let everybody know this because I wasn't given permission. It was, this information was given to me in confidence. And I don't break my oath of confidence with a person just to make a few radio scores to get maybe a couple listeners. But I've been toying with it now that this stuff is out in the open. How should I approach this? Because I want to tell you the things I know, but I do not want to ruin the confidence between me and the people who have given me some inside information. But what I can tell you is, at least from the people I've talked to, my sources, the mayor was working really tight with some property management company, and there was a lot of dirty dealings going on there with the property management company as it relates to campaign contributions from what I'm, just picture this in your head if you can. A corrupt politician needs money for his campaign. He's got some buddies in the real estate market who have lots and lots of properties inside that city. Henceforth, they need lots of repairs, so they have lots of contractors coming in and out of there, and lots of material suppliers also dealing with these property management people. And well, it turns out that there was the information I'm getting is that there was a little play being made by the property management owner on behalf of the elected to, you can use whatever words you want, but they were basically hinting that if they didn't make strong campaign contributions to the mayor's re-election bid, that they would lose contracts and they wouldn't get jobs. Now, I think that's as much as I can tell you without blowing away the confidence between myself and these sources I have. But just on that alone, and trust me, the sources I have, they're trustworthy, in my opinion. I've checked them out. I know who they are, and we have dealings. So I think these are credible sources. And I kept this to myself because I didn't know how to handle this in the past. Because I didn't want to not only ruin that connection I had with the sources, but I didn't want to damage business relationships between different companies because I had dealings with that as well. So it was a thing I was just like, okay, I know about this. It doesn't make me happy, but there's not a whole lot I could do about it. So bringing it up would have been probably more trouble than it was worth because, well, let's just say ever since this mayor has held the seat, he has had some of the city thugs going around and finding people extra for little things in their property, finding any reason to bring them down and to get money out of them. Ever since this guy took over. This is the same guy, the mayor that is, that would put his picture on every pamphlet there was that was sent out by the city. He loves showing his face off and his family's face off. I'm sure he was just going to use the office of mayor as a stepping stone. He would be mayor for a little while, then maybe he would move up to state representative or maybe even national, one of the Senate seats or whatever, whenever Stabenow or somebody else left. He was one of those D's that we talk about here on the show. Pretty hardcore D. The FBI raided the City Hall just this past week, too. And in light of what I, just gave you a little glimpse of, a little glean of little evidence of what I know, a little taste of what I know, I see now I should have talked about this before. I should have brought this out. But it all makes sense now. It all makes sense. And though I'm not a big supporter of the FBI and their endeavors, if we can clean out the corruption in my city, which has been prevalent and there's not a whole lot the residents have been able to do, because there's been a little bit of a mob mentality when it comes to the public office. And I know some people who I'm close with, they have relatives that are very, very passionate, and if you don't see things in the same light, things happen randomly to people. So you see that was on my mind all week, what was going on down there. Later on, we're going to talk about the blatant liars, and not only the mainstream media, because you know how critical I am of those people. But I have a new listener, or a few new listeners, I should say, to the show. But one in particular sent me a video, and I watched it because, okay, people sending me stuff, I try to be responsive to my listeners. I mean, if they take the time to listen, I should take the time to, see what they're saying. And it wasn't one of the hate mails, I get a lot of those, but this was actually somebody on the positive side. So I watched the video, and Lord have mercy, we're going to have to get into this when we get back off a break, because I still can't believe that so many people listen to utter BS. Utter BS. You guys ready to pay those reparations? Because those are going to be shoved down our throat. Green New Deal or New Green Deal, or the whole political system right now is so out of whack. So out of whack. I've seen a Gallup poll. More conservatives in America than liberals. Liberals only are leading in 6 states. They say California, this is how skewed this one is, because it's a bunch of hogwash. They say California split down the middle. Except they're always Democrat. They always vote Democrat. It's always Democrat when you're talking about the presidential. When's the last time California voted for a Republican presidential candidate? If you can answer that question, you'll win a prize. Leave the answer in the comment section or the chat room, and the first one to do it, we'll send you a special gift from the John Lebang Show. With that being said, it's time for a break. Don't go anywhere, folks. We've got more coming your way. Hey, Uncle Shady, where are they going? Hey, you, get back here. The John Lebang Show will be right back. Does your house need a paint job, but you don't want to do it? Then call Tom at Quality One Painting. He can handle all of your interior and exterior painting needs. He gives free estimates and senior discounts. Call Tom at Quality One. 313-982-2986. That's 313-982-2986. Quality One Painting.
You're listening to the John Lebang Show.
And it's so much fun. Why you keep talking? Oh, am I not supposed to? No. Oh, back to John.
All right, welcome back. We have turned on the banger cam for this second segment. So we want to welcome everybody on Facebook and YouTube who are now tuned into the broadcast. This will go for about 14 minutes or so, and then we'll turn off the banger cam for a little bit, if not for the rest of the show. But because this pertains, or at least this next segment pertains to the media, and including the alternative media and the YouTubers in general, I thought it was a good idea to include them in the discussion. So let's start with the recent findings and the conspiracy of Juicy Schukette and the hoax that was created between him and 2 Nigerian people. We now know, as reported last week on the John Lebang Show, The interesting thing about this is CNN continues to carry the narrative, even though we now know that the whole thing was staged. They continue to carry the narrative of racial and homophobic beatings by MAGA supporters on top of it. We just had in the news the lady who slaps the hat off the one guy just sitting at a bar. He had the MAGA hat on, and some lady comes up to him and smacks the hat off of him. She gets arrested. As they're taking her out, she smacks the hat off him right in front of the cops. You hear from other people who just who don't get into the news, and you casually have conversations with them. You hear that they're worried because of the racial things going on. And that's all in part to, like organizations like CNN, who continue to carry a narrative that was found out to be a hoax. It was a complete setup, a conspiracy. There's no theory behind it. There's no theory. It was an actual conspiracy. See, those things do happen from time to time. People don't believe that sort of thing. But we know the numbers of people that listen to CNN and the other mainstream media outlets that all jumped on the narrative. Right away, they were all on it. It's funny, Mr. Schukette there, Schukette. Long-time listeners know I make up names for people. I try to be clever, a little different. But he was close friends with the Obama family. So, you start wondering, well, we had a lot of racial things growing during the Obama administration, and now we see a very close associate to the Obamas engaging in fake news, conspiracy to defraud the people of the United States into maybe possibly starting a racial war. These things, as we've seen like with the Rodney King situation, this starts people emotions, and it gets people angry. And sometimes that leads to property damage and people getting hurt and killed. I wonder how many people, and I'll leave this up to you to check into that. I wonder how many people in those LA riots were killed that law enforcement actually figured out who killed them and sent them to prison. So with a thing like this, that the juicy Schmeckle, Schmuckette, Schmuckette. I got to get that right. You come up with a funny name, you got to get that right. He was trying to get people mad about a situation that could get whole areas of the country up in an uproar, to where, as we saw in different cities across the United States during the Obama administration, buildings got burned down. Baltimore, Ferguson, people got hurt. And here's a guy trying to do something like that, fake news. And the CNNs and the MSNBCs and all the other media outlets out there who engaged in the same rhetoric, promoting the same narrative, we're all engaging in one big lie that could have, and we're lucky this was exposed, it could have caused a reactionary event. People get mad when things happen. Now, on the other side of the coin, we have the independent media. This week we had a doozy, though, ladies and gentlemen. We had such a doozy for us YouTubers out there. And I don't know how many of my YouTube friends out there are listening at this time, but there's this guy, Mr. Jim Beckwith. brothers, he says, is my brothers and sisters. Supposedly a religious guy. I'd like you to listen to this liar, this con artist, this phony baloney, good time rockin' Roni, ironiously lying here.
Howdy, folks. Brother Jim reporting here. We have big breaking news. Soros has been arrested, as I reported earlier. And Obama has been arrested and is being detained at Gitmo. Obama has pled guilty to 9/11, to falsifying, killing Osama bin Laden. It was all a big cover-up. George Soros has been arrested. He will be extradited to the United States. George Bush is guilty of high crimes. Obama is begging for his life because he is being charged with high treason. Because Donald Trump wants to cut all the heads off the snakes before he brings in martial law. Breaking news. Billionaire financier George Soros has been arrested. We're also learning that former President George Bush has pled guilty to many charges, including the planning and cover-up of 9/11.
Now you heard it from his own mouth. Obama, Bush, Soros. Unfortunately, everything he said in that video is a lie. What's even more amazing, this video came out on February 11th, 2019. It's got 669,000 views. 669,000 views. That's amazing. It's amazing that this guy can tell you so much fabricated information, so much direct, outright lying. And YouTube has not taken this guy's video down. Now that amazes me because there's been a couple times in the past when the banger himself has put out videos with actual factual information. I had some strikes against my channel. And ever since that, I can't get any views. Now this guy, he won't allow comments on his video. He hasn't taken the video down. It was out February 11th, proven to be lies. You know why it's lie? Because Obama just about, I think it was Tuesday, was giving a speech against men. Another anti-man speech by Obama. George Soros this past week was in, I think it was France or Poland. I think it was France. He was buying radio stations this week. Except you heard in the video that Soros was arrested. Obama was pleading for his life. So bad that he was cutting down men at a university and getting paid for it to be there. George Bush, well, he's been out and about in the news. You could Google that. George has been doing a couple things. This guy, complete fabrication, clickbait video. And YouTube won't take it down. It's still there. He won't take it down either. Why would you take down a video that has almost 700,000 views? Almost. Why would you do that, right? Doesn't matter if it's filled with lies. Because according to YouTube, that's okay to lie. Thought we weren't supposed to have fake news, but fake news is relative. If it's something you don't want exposed, that's fake news to some people. This guy here, he's telling such erroneous, fabricated information that he's the kind of guy that should be banned from YouTube because 600,000 plus people have listened to this. 15,000 people have liked it, thumbed it up. Only 3,000 or so have thumbs it down. So can you imagine how many people believe this guy? They won't check the information. They won't make sure that they're not being lied to, which was easy because I checked it out myself. I'm like, no way is this happening. No way. So I go, okay, where's Obama? It's real easy. You go into Google and you type President Obama's recent engagements. Boom, comes up, and then you can narrow the search for the last week because I just wanted to cover the last week because this was put out on the 11th and we're in the 20th right now, right? If he was in jail and begging for his life, he definitely wouldn't be making public appearances and the media wouldn't be covering it. And he definitely wouldn't be bashing men and toxic masculinity. Maybe he's endorsed by Gillette. I don't know yet. It happens, They need to make money. Obama was, he can't like bleed the American people dry through the back door and put a lot of money in his pocket anymore. So he's got to actually earn a living somehow. So you got to do speeches like Hillary does. They give speeches to make money. I give speeches here on the radio. I don't make money. So there's like an imbalance there. But getting back to Mr. Jim the Liar, if you listen to this guy, you'll never know the truth, man. You'll never know the truth. And therefore, never understand why everything continues on the same path it always does. Wake up. Wake up. And I don't want to insult the person that sent me the video of this guy. I do not want to do that. But we can't let guys like this get 600,000 views when he's telling lies and people are believing him. Do you know how many people spread the word on this? I can't even see the shares on this one. But if he got 15,000 likes, guaranteed it was shared all over the place. So in one way, the dummies will think it's true. In another way, the smart people will think the alternative media isn't credible because of idiots like this guy. And it aggravates the living crap out of me. And when I do my best to get things right, and if I make a mistake, I correct it. This guy, the video is still up. It's his main video on his page. And all he's done, because people have caught him in the lie, is he turned off the comments so you can't expose the lies that this guy is telling you. This falsifier. He's a deluder, man. And people listen to him. And it frustrates me because since my exposure of some information back in the day, I haven't been able to get any traction in the YouTube world, especially because they won't give me. They've shadow banned me. I'm not in people's feeds. I don't get the views anymore. Even if I get the views, which is amazing, I'll have 5 likes and only 2 views. They haven't figured out how to manipulate that yet. People can still get through and like something, and the view count doesn't look right. All I'm saying, people, is really take the time to research all the information you get in. Don't believe people and share these people information that they hand out without double checking it yourself. And in the case of this guy, all it took was 3 or 4 YouTube searches, Google searches on where the president or the former president or where George Soros or where any of these people have been in the past week. And that's why I'm doing this video, because it's going to be in the title. Oh, Jimmy boy, my brother, you're a lying sack of garbage. You're a fabulist, a sensationalist, a clickbaiter, deceiver, phony propaganda artist. And just like the mainstream media, I'm going to expose people like you. because we need less people like you in the world than we do the good people who really, truly want to put out good information. Got to take a break, folks. Back after this.
Don't move a muscle.
The John Lebang Show. Right back.
With lots of fun and excitement. Yes!
Are you in need of commercial or residential window cleaning? Do you need your office cleaned? Maybe custodial work? How about some gutter cleaning? If you do, then call Pane in the Glass for a beautiful shine that's crystal clear. Call Pane and the Glass. You can find them on Facebook at Pane and the Glass.
Hey, man, it's at the bottom of the hour, man. Do you know where your kids are, man?
If you want to contact the John Lebang Show, feel free to send an email to jlebang@live.com. And if you're on Twitter, look him up at John Lebang. And don't forget to go to his Facebook page at The John Lebang Show. Banger. Now here's John.
And welcome back, folks. Gonna try to bring it down a level just a little bit. It's just I get really passionate about fakers in the media, clickbaiters, and how the discrimination by the platforms is so out of whack. Who they choose to eliminate and get rid of. You think Alex Jones lied as bad as this guy lied? I don't think so. And Alex Jones is banned. Can you believe that? Alex Jones is nowhere near the liar this guy was. This guy's video is still up there, 600,000+ views. It's amazing. And it tells me they have agendas of their own. And they don't want a certain message getting out. And they like messages that'll deceive you. But let's move on, because there are other things to discuss, including the 2020 Democratic race. And how the candidates, most of them, and they're all talking about how it's time that we should give reparations to the black community. Apparently because of slavery or some other damn thing. You know, there's always a litany of reasons why we must do this and do that, and we're supposed to feel guilty for this and something that happened in the past that none of us were alive for. None of us. We have moved well past that. And if a certain community struggles, you can't blame it on something that is long gone. And if we're going to talk about racism, it's really sad. You see, you got to watch your words here. Because if you say the wrong thing or if it's taken the wrong way, you get banned. You get hate mail. You get thrown off mediums. And the way the wind's blowing today, folks, I might get thrown off a few things myself. We're supposed to have high winds all day. Severe weather. So if we just happen to disappear, please forgive me. But back to the Democrat Party and one of their upcoming platforms, and that is going to be reparations to a community that didn't exist, and neither do the people who actually had slaves. They don't exist. They haven't existed in a long time. Not here in the States. Not legally out in the open. There could be some arguments that there's certain kinds of slavery out there. But we won't get into that. That we're going with the general term. And it's been long since gone from this country. Generations. The current generation never once had to deal with slavery as it is portrayed in the history of the United States. They've lived in relatively free circumstances. And just because they're not on equal financial terms, which is what the Democrats are attempting to use as a platform item, the rest of us will have to pay people because of their skin color. If that is not racist in its own right, then I don't know what is. You see, racism in this country has gotten bigger and bigger and bigger, more prevalent, more in our face, because people continue to talk about it. If we don't talk about it and you're walking down the street, the average two people, no matter what race they come from, what part of the community they're living in, they'll pass each other and either say hello or don't say hello and just walk on by. That is the majority of this country. It doesn't matter who they are. If you're out on the street and you're just passing each other, you're not going to jump the other person, no matter who they are. We just want to get along. We just want to do this. So why is race so emphasized by the political class? And that's to divide us. That's why they call diversity. Diverse, divide. It comes from the same word. The United States used to be a united melding pot. Now we're a diverse salad with our little bacon over here and our tomatoes over here and our cucumbers over there, and they're not mixed together. They're all separate. Because the political class separates us and has gotten us all to fall into that. Now we're all separate because we need diversity. And we should accept our differences, right? That's how they put it. Accept our differences. But we can't accept our differences because they know, and they've helped us. They've pushed it along. They've given it a little boost. They know our differences will cause us to fight amongst ourselves, giving them reasons to pick sides and to get votes. It's that simple. Especially the Democrat Party, but if the country truly wants to stop racism, then we should stop emphasizing race at every turn. We should stop emphasizing gender at every turn as well. This caused division. Part of diversity is dividing us. And if we're going to be a strong country and not fall apart into civil war or chaos, then we need to focus on what unites us. Not diversity, but unity. And the more you listen to the people who push diversity and who push race and gender and all these things that really don't matter, the more you listen to them, the more we as a country are going to be divided. And we're never going to unite. And then one day, I don't know how long it's going to be. I don't know when in the future this will happen. But mark my words, if we continue down this path and if we continue to emphasize race, gender, sexuality, instead of just we're all individuals, equal. There are no subgroups. It's a human race. It's not a race of white people or a race of Asian people or a race of black people. Those are subgroups. Why would we want to put ourselves in a subgroup? We're the human race. We run the world. If aliens come to the planet, we are the ones that are going to have to deal with that. It's not going to be the elephants. It's not going to be the lions. And since the United States is the main country in the world, some people like that idea, some people don't. But we are. We're the main country in the world. Whatever we do, most people follow. Most, not all. And sometimes what we do isn't all that great. But a lot of that's out of the hands of people like me on this lower class level. Which is another thing. We should stop talking about classes and pitting them against each other, because that's what happens. The rich against the poor. The rich against the poor. Rich against the poor. And the middle class keeps shrinking. And all this I'm talking about relates to the presidential campaign coming up and what we want as a country moving forward. Do we want people like Nancy Pelosi, or let's go to the presidential campaigners, the Elizabeth Warrens and the Kamala Harrises, to continue to express and push diversity so that our communities are divided amongst themselves, where we find things we don't like about each other? Or do we find people to lead the country who express unity? We all get together. We all have a common goal. Let's find that. Let's find people who are willing to take us on that journey as a United States once again, where we're a melting pot of different things. We're not a diverse salad bowl with everything split up into its little communities purposely. And I'm not talking where people live. I'm talking how we separate ourselves. You got the women's community. You've got the black community. You've got the white community. We all, Democrat, Republican, socialist, liberal, conservative. That's all meaningless if all it does is drive us apart. Meaningless. Dump all that and let's find out what we can work with together. And all that other stuff, we just don't do anything about it. We don't talk about it. We leave it out of the subject. And eventually, that'll go away. See, if we don't bring it up, if we don't talk about it, out of sight, out of mind. You've heard that saying, ladies and gentlemen. If it's constantly put in your face, you have no choice but to deal with it and to live it and to have to put up with the repercussions of it all. Guess that's the banger lecture for this third segment. Stop focusing on diversity. Stop focusing on what separates us. And let's look at the few things. If it's only a few things, it's better to take those few things and go forward. But it's up to you. Banger can only tell you what he thinks is best. You've got to take the steps to make that happen. You've got to stop listening to the people that want to divide us by every little subgenre that they can create. And then they create such small genres, then they put them back together and created some other genre. It's absurd. And we have to move away from people that do that. We got to take that time out. Third segment in the bag. One more coming your way. We're going to get to your calls. Stay tuned.
Smoke 'em if you got 'em.
Because the John Lebang Show will be right back.
After this. That's guaranteed. Yes. At Absolute Skin and Body Care, they only use the best laser equipment in the industry so that you receive the best results possible. They'll explain all the procedures in detail and answer all of your questions. Absolute Skin and Body Care. If you're looking for skin rejuvenation, laser lipo, or laser hair removal, call Absolute Skin and Body Care. They're located at 37625 Ann Arbor Road, Suite 105 in Livonia, Michigan. Absolute Skin and Body Care. Their office phone numbers are 248-305-3000. That's 248-305-3000. Absolute Skin and Body Care.
You're listening to the John Lebang Show.
And it's so much fun.
Before we get to your calls, I just had a couple other things to add, if you don't mind. I know a lot of conservatives and a lot of liberals. One thing I can tell you about both. I know a lot of conservatives, and none of them hate black people. None of them hate Mexican people. None of them hate in general. But I know a lot of liberals, a lot of them, that hate white people. They hate them. I don't know why. I don't know what's so bad about people with less melanin. Because that's what it boils down to. Now, if you're talking behavior, see, and that's where I fall a little bit more, is if there's an ism I'm a part of, it's behaviorism. I don't care who you are and what you do in public or in private. Sure as hell don't care what you do in private. That's your business. You keep it there, that's fine. You shove it in my face, I'm going to say something. Because I don't have to take that crap. If you're going to shove something in my face that offends me, I'm going to say something about it. As should you. So that goes a long way with unity, as I was talking earlier. You don't want to sit there and offend people on purpose just because you want to get some kind of jolly out of it. Something that gets you off. Oh, I love offending Christians. I love offending these kind of people. It's ridiculous. So stop it. Whatever you got that's different than everybody else, keep it at home. That's kind of what we were taught from my grandparents. We spoke French at home. When we were in public, we spoke English. It was out of respect for everybody. You lived in America, they spoke English. Made sense. There's not a lot of sense going on right now. People lack a lot of it anyways. So with that being said, I'll get off my lecture chair now, and we'll head out to you, the listener. Our first call going out to Shady in Detroit.
Hey, John, I just want to talk about that corruption you were talking about earlier.
Well, the floor is yours, Shady.
We know politicians are dirty, and that city's been dirty for a long time. Most of the mayors have been corrupt. There's even one mayor that's getting 2 pensions off the damn city.
Yeah, I know, Shady.
So next time you got information, just bust them.
Okay, thanks for your call. Our next call comes in from Wilbert.
John, did you see that Americans are moving to lower tax states?
I did see that. Probably because they're sick of paying for things they don't want to pay for. And if you're in a low tax state, you can actually keep your money.
Apparently, Idaho, Nevada, Utah, and Arizona led the way this past year in overall population growth.
Texas and Florida were also big winners in that overall population growth as well. And because of that, that's actually going to factor in to the electoral votes in the next election.
I was just going to say that, John. Texas has gained 3 votes. They're going from 36 to 39. Florida's going from 27 to 29. Arizona went from 9 to 10. Colorado gained 1. Montana went from at large to 2. North Carolina gained 1. And Oregon gained 1.
And most of those are conservative states. Now, on the other side, looks like liberal states are losing people as well.
New York lost 2, Alabama lost 1, California lost 1, Michigan lost 1, Minnesota might lose 1, Ohio loses 1, Pennsylvania loses 1, Rhode Island loses 1, and West Virginia loses 1 as well.
All in all, looks like more people are going to low-tax states and states that are going to be more Republican-leaning. We'll see how that works out in the next election. Thanks, Wilbert, for your call. Our next call comes in from Gooberfish. What say you?
Did you see that dude on the news, man?
Which dude are you talking about?
Yo, man, I'm talking about that dude with all the guns, man.
Are you talking about the Coast Guard lieutenant?
That's what I'm saying, man. Did you see about that, man? Because you ain't been talking about it on the radio.
I'll be honest, I've only spent a few minutes on it. And when I look at the pictures of all the so-called weapons he had, to some people that's a lot. But to people who have been in the military, that's not all that much to have.
So you don't think he did it?
He's being charged with unlawful possession of firearms and a opioid called Tramadol. So I that's all we know. But when I see the pictures of the weapon stash he had, any military guy would have a similar amount of stuff. So I don't think it's all that crazy for somebody to own that many things. And to some people who don't even have a handgun, wouldn't understand why you would have that much. But to other people who are a little more, constitutional, might keep that on hand just in case something happens that they have to protect themselves from a threat. He had a list, and that scared a lot of people. Had Democrats on it. We've seen these guys who went attacked Republicans. The country's crazy. It's what I was talking about earlier. We've just got to move past that and start dealing with what unifies us as a country. And if one side says no about something, then we don't do it. If we can do that, if one side can't do something because it's beyond their morals, then we just don't get something done. And we say, okay, what can we get done as a country to make ourselves closer? And we drop the subject. We drop the subjects we can't work with the other side on. We just drop them. Because if you don't drop them, then you're going to keep the fighting going. Thanks for your call. And before we get out of here, I think we're going to talk a little bit about this next subject. Found interesting. It was an article by the Daily Mail called "Men Who Live on a Main Road Are More Likely to Struggle to Get an Erection because the toxic fumes cut off their blood supply." According to this new latest research, men who live on these main roads are going to have difficulty getting their schmeckle to be erect. And that's concerning because guess who lives on a main road? I haven't seen the problem. I mean, when you think about how old I am, I'm lucky to be at attention as I am compared to what I hear with some guys at my age, that they have to actually take pills and stuff. I don't need the pill. Shoot. Dun, da, da. Just say that. We don't want to get into it beyond that. But guess the toxic fumes reduce blood flow to the genitalia. Now this has been in test with rats, because we test everything on rats. And it's comical, ladies and gentlemen, because although it's in the name of research, they say to just imagine some guy in some goggles wearing all kinds of stuff, and he's down there with a scalpel on some rats, and he's testing their genitalia to see how much blood there is. So he's with a microscope, and he's getting a really close in view. He's right in there. Let's see these genitalia. Oh, look at this rat's got some big ones, boy. Woo! I mean, I haven't seen a genitalia like that on a rat ever. Man. Oh. So I find these studies humorous out of all the other stuff that we can find from this. I guess it's bad. It hasn't affected me yet. Took a while for blindness to affect me, but it's come in like a son of a gun. And, one day I might be doing the Stevie Wonder thing here in the studio because I can't see where the microphone is, so I'm just going to bob my head back and forth, try to find the microphone. And I love Stevie Wonder, so please don't get all offended. People need, you know what, that's another thing. Stop being offended over everything. Joke's a joke, okay? Maybe a bad joke is not very good. You go, oh, dude, that was a sucky joke. Probably want to do something better. Step up your game on the joke a little bit. But we get offended over everything. We want to divide ourselves over everything, and we end up, all we're doing is hurting ourselves and our posterity. Because if we can't find a way to make the United States work the way it was intended to work, then the whole world is going to fall into chaos because, like I said earlier, we're the leaders. And if we can't cope with the stresses of freedom, if we can't handle this, the rest of the world won't be able to do it. And our founding fathers put this thing in place, this government in place that, not this government that we have now. Their thought of the government is way different than what we have now. But they put this thing in place to give us an opportunity to live free for the first time in the history of man. We had a chance at it as the common man. And we've been blowing it and blowing it and blowing it. And if we continue down the road of dividing ourselves between different subgenres of people, between different opinions of thought, then we're in big trouble. So the things we can't agree on, maybe we need to drop it. Don't even talk about it. We can't agree on healthcare, probably shouldn't do anything about it then. Better off we don't do anything than to piss off half the country and eventually push the country into something that's going to hurt everybody. Which seems to be a reoccurring story in the history of man. A great civilization rises. It can't handle the stress of being the great civilization, so then it crumbles under the stress, descends into chaos, war, famine, destruction, and then something else rises from it. That's it, ladies and gentlemen, for this week's John Lebang Show. Thank you for tuning in. I want to also thank all of our affiliate stations for allowing us to be part of their great networks. Don't forget to go to our website. That's www.jlebang.com. You can, as a listener, tune into past broadcasts there in our archive section, which is down the right side of the website. Feel free to go there because if you tuned into any or missed any portion of this broadcast, you can listen on demand right there at the website. And until the vibrations of my vocal cords reach your ears again, this is John Lebang signing off from the Banger Studios. See you next week.
T-minus 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We have liftoff. Tune in again next week. Same time, same space, same station.
Resistance